What's going on, guys? This is X. We got some brand new news that dropped about a couple days ago. I originally did this video before, but I didn't really feel comfortable with the way I was working in it, so I decided to redo it again. That's not important. But here we are. We are up here with a brand new TCG, in air quotes, because we have Build Divide Bright. We're on the official webpage right now, and we're looking at it, and let's talk about this. So first off, what is Build Divide Bright? Build Divide Bright is a I forgot to prove that there. It is a card game by Aniplex, character card game by Aniplex. Your favorite character is your partner. Let's face the battle together. You know, the whole thing is they said with Build Divide. So they also put out like two videos, one on the Aniplex official channel and one on the actual Build Divide channel. They're actually different videos somewhat. So we can go over the video in just a second. So what it actually is if you know what White Schwartz is basically that this is Aniplex's White Schwartz, in which they're going to use the Build Divide system to now basically create White Schwartz here. So the first one is the first set they've already announced is Licorice Recoil. This was already announced for regular Build Divide, but now they've decided to actually make it for Build Divide. Build Divide Bright as the first set. They even made a special image here, which is actually pretty cute. So that's pretty nice too. So then there's also three more sets they've also announced, which is Show by Rock. I had to double check what this was again. Gurren Lagann's 15th anniversary and Near Automata. And when I originally was about to record this, my Chrome was actually messing up, so unfortunately, I do not have the original Aniplex scene, so let me pull up there. Yeah, let me pull up anime series on my Aniplex. So if we go to the wiki page, and again, don't always say wiki is important, but if we look at their anime productions, we can see they've done 86. They have access to pretty much all of Fate. Like they are pretty much the only reason like Fate's here in the West, pretty much. Kill a Kill. Oh, that's a big one. Kaguya-sama, they have access to that. Powerpuff Girls Z, apparently. Promise Neverland. They've already done the Madoka collab in a regular Build Divide. They have Angel Beats, Anohana, Banana Fish, Back Arrow, Black Butler, Blue Exorcist, The Gray Man, Darker Than Black, Darling in the Front. Obviously another one they did with regular Build Divide. They have Erased, their manga Eureka. All this they have access to, and they don't have to build rights for. Right? They even have access to Persona 3, 4, 5, and Trinity Soul, which is already kind of crazy. So going back to the not that going back to the topic of discussion here. So what exactly so how is this going to work? Like first off there, and this actually will show you right here. They have the talk here. I don't think that's exactly the image I'm looking for. It's like somewhere deep actually. Yes. Okay. So first off, here's how it's going to work. So Build a White Bright will be two games. Or rather, two formats. The first would be you have access to regular Build Divide, and then you have access to the Bright decks, and you can put them all in one deck. So, for example, for if you since there's a lot of Camera Vanguard players on this that this excuse me this is primarily Vanguard channel, but there's also a TC channel. So there's a lot of Vanguard players that probably notice. For example, this is pretty much like the split from V to Premium, kind of. I'll talk about it in a second. Where you can use Bright cards as a deck by itself, you can use Build Divide cards as a deck by itself, or you can mash them together. Because one of the things with Build Divide that was, no one really talked about because no one talks about Build Divide here in the West, except me, for some reason, and Lost Worlds. But the idea is that Build Divide collabs were actually allowed to be played. They were actually allowed to be played in regular Build Divide decks by just having the appropriate colors, right? So it's just similar to like Magic, basically. And then you can now mix and match. You can have individual decks, you can have separate decks. You can play them both at the same time. It's a free for all format. And then you have Bright, which is Bright only decks. You can just put them in there. Has a new card backing, such that I don't know how the card backing is going to work for like opaque sleeves or whatnot. So I guess you're just gonna have to like shill for those anime character sleeves, like the My Dress Up Darling ones. Oh yeah, that's coming out too, and I can't show that on the screen right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. uh, I already pushed it with the soup meme, so I'm just gonna lay off that. So that is pretty much the base of Build a Vibrite right there, in which they've now made a format exclusively for collab boosters. That's pretty interesting. So let's kind of give my opinions of this on what this means for the game. I I think the idea pretty much here is to find a way to kind of like give Build Divide a second win, right? This is it. Let's be honest here. This game hasn't really like made its jump to the west yet. I was also working on a video about why Build Divide and Shoppers Ball haven't come to the west, and this came out all of a sudden out of nowhere. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta delay that for a little bit. And then you have, excuse me. Whew, I've had this like frog in my throat for like the past like 2 hours, so I need to like get some water and eat that out. So this is obviously like a play to try and like get Build Divide to gain more of a foothold in the TCG like landscape. Try and like revitalize the game because outside the West, no one really talks about it. And from what I'm hearing and from people who are on the ground there, it's very rarely stocked, it's very rarely in stores. I don't know if that's because it's selling like crazy or it's because, well, I don't think it's selling like crazy. I think if you look at like games like Shoppers Evolve or the One Piece CCG just came out, it's like you look at those sales and they're in the top 7, but if there's no product being sold in build by stores, that means like the only other opposite, which is no one's picking up the game to even sell, and that's an issue. Now, I think my I have a lot of questions. I don't think a lot of the questions are kind of like in this weird space because like I need someone to translate them, and no one has really translated a lot of the information. They've kind of showed like the base rules and ideas and whatnot, but so far, I have 3 questions, and this will kind of determine whether or not I think the game will be fine. That first question is: does this mean the original Build Divide will be taken out, or rather, are you going to stop supporting the original content for Build Divide? That's the first question, right? Because when I talked about Premium and V, one of the big things was like Premium basically didn't get anything outside like Premium collections, and all support came from V pretty much, and then later Standard. So a lot of its so a lot of support really just came from this. So I'm wondering, is this gonna be a similar question? Like a lot of the base Build Divide will now have to rely on Bright cards in the future to actually have support, which and you're not rarely going to get, if ever, any of the original content like the Bloom strategy, uh Bloom, Yoda, all those cards that have been like promoted with the original like release of the game. Are they just gone? Are they just not going to get any like direct support or indirect support anymore? Or rather, the indirect support is going to be from the Bright decks. If so, that's question one. Second question is, what does this mean for a potential return of the anime? Because I've seen multiple. I've been around seeing TCG anime for a while, so there's a few ways this could go. This could go in the way of kind of like a small reboot or like a sequel series, where it's like, oh yeah, these characters are here, but we're gonna try it again. Or are we going to like the way that happened with Lucky Logic, which is we've basically reset everything, and now here we are. Which, if you don't know how that went, I don't know either. I haven't watched Loki either, so that might be a review for next year, I guess. I don't know. So that's the second question, and the third question is: does this potentially mean that the game can come overseas? So, and I'll talk about this more in that actual video about overseas and whatnot. But if the one of the reasons why Bright has now made this change, this is mean that now it's more strong. It's a stronger game with IPs and stuff to now bring the game to the West, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, I know that," and then I know that series. That's the Recoil. Those are the ones with the lesbians. Let's get it. Or I know Gurgan. I love Nier Automata. I love Show by Rock. I want to get a SP2B. Let's get it. Or like some other like Kill a Kill, or all those other anime I just went over. So those are the three main questions, and depending on the answer, that will kind of decide the fate of this game. So what I would prefer, one, going on the third question first, because it's obvious. Yes, I want Buildify to come here to the West. If this is the way they want to try and do it, that's fine. I'll take that. Secondly, I would also like the anime to come back, if somehow possible. I think this series is meant to be a multimedia like a multimedia franchise. It's meant to be like Aniplex's kind of answer to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard. So like, yeah, bring the anime back. Don't just give it 2 seasons and just quit. I think that's cowardly, but I can understand if it wasn't just making the traction that other like series were. But there's also ways you could do that. Like, for example, Vanguard always has their anime on YouTube, right? You have it on YouTube, you have it on Crunchyroll, you have it on this. It's subtitled, it's also dubbed. Like, you have ways to distribute the anime besides just that is yeah, that's another question. So, and then answering the first question last, does this mean that the original content is gone? And if that answer is yes, that would be the most disappointing thing. That to me would be the most disappointing move they would make, because that basically says, yeah, no, we've given up on making these new characters and artwork and all that, and supporting all these characters that were helped to build the franchise. We're just gonna go ahead and become White Shorts 2 and just say F it. And that sucks, because I really think like there hasn't been a non already established IP that has entered the TCG landscape in years, or rather, has not had a foothold in the landscape in years. Like, let's be honest here. Uh, once hold on. When this is on the right, hold on. Yeah, so just let's be honest here. When um, I'm trying to think of the name. I'm trying to think of the name. When gosh dang, I'm having a mind blank. Let's see. Like, I think Vanguard was like one of the last, like Vanguard and Buddy Fight were one of the last like original IPs to have like made not just an entrance to teaching landscape, but a actual foothold. Right? They were around for more than just 5 years. Right? Vanguard's on 11. Buddy Fight lasted for 7. Like, that'd be really cool, right? But outside that, no other like TCG individually has gained that foothold, right? I think Gate Ruler isn't really too hot, and then I've been looking at Alice No Game, et cetera, et cetera. So I would love a game that was built on an original IP, original idea to get a game, and if they decide to like sack that for Bright, while I understand, I'm also more disappointed, because it's like, I like this world, I like the cards, I like the artwork. I mean, let's go to View of the World right here, and kind of just like look at the artwork for Build Divide, which is insane. I really love Build Divide's artwork, right? I like the character designs. Bloom's dope, Markless is dope. Aeola's amazing. I like the size. Like the art like designs for cards are really cool. And now they've add like dual and now they've created like dual colors into it. So it's like, yeah, no, you can do stuff. So it's very much just like I don't want this stuff that's on on the screen right now to fade away to pave the way just for this. I want them both to coexist if possible. Is that possible? I don't know. It depends on how much Build Divide can recover from its kind of like messy start. But I don't know. That's kind of thing. I'm cautiously optimistic for Build Divide, but it's a high chance that this might not work out the way I want or some other people want, etc. etc. I saw people were like, I don't really know about this. So this when they come back and show more information about Build Divide's future in like the next month or so, that will kind of determine what happens to Build Divide and whether or not that game has a chance of survival. So I mean that's pretty much all the news we have right now. What do you guys think about Build Divide currently? Do you think the game is too far gone to save? Do you think this is just a desperate move? Do you think this is a cool idea and I'm probably just like being a little bit too I'm being too scaredy cat, whatever. So just let me know in the comments. If you like more TCG content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.